Okay, so we are going to start round 5. I'm hoping I've got enough light and everything since it's getting kind of late. But round 5, V-stitches. V-stitches are really easy because essentially what you are making is just a V. Like this. So you have a double stitch here, a double stitch here, and then your chain 2s here. And that's what it's asking you to do. V-stitches are okay, but like I said before, they're not my favorites. So I tend to stay away from patterns that use them unless there's only one pattern I have that I will use V-stitches on, and it's just because for me they're kind of confusing. But let's get started with round 5. Okay, so in round 5, the first thing it says is to slip stitch into the next stitch. Now, as you can see right here, this is where we slip stitched round 4 to finish it off. We just put it through there, and then we drew through here. Okay, so that finished off round 4. Now, when it says to slip stitch into the next one, you're not going to slip stitch into the one right here where you finished, but the very next stitch, which is this one. Okay, now looking at this pattern more, since you needed help, the round that they're going to do here, basically what that's going to do is, see how when we look at it, it has this rippling effect here? That's kind of okay because this is a unique pattern, but you don't want it to ripple too much. Okay, so it's not balled up. You want it to lay somewhat flat. So this round kind of helps keep it flat. Alright, so what you're going to do is, when they say slip stitch into the next one, what they're talking about is you just find your next stitch. Now, as you recall, we were talking about the stitches for the holes. So you have a double crochet here and a double crochet here, and your stitching is going to be that hole there for this double crochet, and then this double crochet is there. So when you slip stitch, the most important thing about slip stitching is to remember, do not make your slip stitches too tight. When you make them too tight, it pulls them together. And for me, if you're a loose crocheter, it kind of throws it off a tiny bit. But if you're a tight crocheter, which I think you said you were, then it's not quite so bad. Just make sure you don't over tighten them. But when you slip stitch, you just go in the hole, bring it back through, and pull it through. What that allows you to do is create your stitch here without really doing anything except for moving it over a space. So each time you slip stitch, you're just wanting to move it over one so you can go to the next one. Now, we've slip stitched into this one here, so that means that we're skipping this one here, this first one, and that's all the slip stitch did, was allow us to skip this one. So when we go around and we skip our 2, we start here. Okay, so we slip stitch in the next one, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to try to remember this time to keep my fingers out of the way. Okay, now you're going to double crochet in the next stitch, which is, now you see your chain 3 goes with this one because it's in this hole, so your next one is over in this hole. So you double crochet here. Okay, now you're at the next one, which is your chain 2 space. Now if you see that it tells you to V-stitch in your chain 2 space, this is where I was telling you how to make the V-stitch. A V-stitch is 1 double crochet, then chain 2, and then 1 more double crochet. Okay, so if you notice here, let's go ahead and actually finish this off, and then I'll point this out to you here. Then it has you double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so remember your first one. For your next 2, you have 1, 2, 3. It wants you to double crochet in your next 2. So that's 1 and 2 there. Okay, so we're going to go into this hole right here. I hope you can see that. Just like we did before, and you double crochet here, and then another double crochet, because it says double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So we've done that. Okay, now let's look at our work here. If you notice, this row here has 1, 2, 3, then a chain 2, and then 1, 2, 3. Your V-stitch, as you notice, it looks like your shell, okay, because your 2 double crochets are in your chain 2 space, and if you look at them, it does make your V. Here is your V with your chain 2. So it's almost like a shell, except for it's only done with the 2 double crochets with the 2 in the middle, whereas our shell down here was 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. So that's a shell. A V-stitch is just the 2 with the chain 2. Okay. Now, as I was explaining before, here, when your rows increase, you notice you have down here in row 4, you have 1, 2, 3. Okay, then you have your chain 2 space, which makes your hole, and then 1, 2, 3 again. This row here, because of your V-stitch, you still ended up with 3 double crochets, because there's your chain that counts as a double crochet, 1, 2, 3, then your chain 2, then your 1, 2, 3, but these are kind of coming down the side. This is how they get it to lay flat so it doesn't ripple too much, is by eliminating 1 double crochet on each chain 2 space. It tends to help as it fans out to lay it flat. Okay, now we're back where we are, and it's going to tell you to skip the next 2 stitches just like we did before. So you're skipping this double crochet here, so you skip that hole. This double crochet is there with that hole, and then you're skipping here, or you're going into your 3rd one. Okay, so you skip this one, skip that one, go into this one, and you make a double crochet into this hole. Okay, now if you notice here, now you're going to double crochet again into your next hole. Okay, which brings us back to the chain 2 space. In the chain 2 space, we make the V-stitch, because where it has the little star, that is your repeat. Okay, so that tells you what you're going to repeat each time. So you double crochet into the hole, then you chain 2, and then you double crochet into the exact same hole. That completes your V-stitch. So then you have 2, to get back down here, you have 2 double crochets, which is 1 double crochet. Now in the next stitch, you do another double crochet. Okay. Now, because we're repeating the pattern, we skip this stitch, we skip this stitch, and if you notice, one of the big problems with this pattern is you can't really see it because I crochet so loosely that it all kind of falls into place. But if you don't get these center ones tight, see how big that hole can get? So kind of make sure you're keeping that one snug when you're doing it. Mine, after you wash them and after you use them, I've probably made maybe 10 of these blankets now. They're really great for baby blankets, but I also made me an adult one. And by the time they get moved around and stuff, you really can't tell, but that's one of the big things, is just make sure that when you do this stitch here, it's tight. Okay, so we are going to skip 1, skip 2, and we're going to go into the 3rd hole, which is your double crochet. Now you're going to double crochet again here. Now you're back to your chain 2, so you're going to make your V-stitch. Your V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 2. Oh, that one is a little bit too loose for my liking. I know I crochet loose, but okay. So we're going to chain 2, and then 1 double crochet to make our V. So now we have our, where we skip 2 stitches, 2 double crochets, then your V-stitch, which is your 2 double crochets with your chain 2 in the middle. Now you go back and you double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay. Okay, we're going to repeat this again because we got to do this all the way around. Alright, so we're going to skip 2. You skip this hole here, that hole there, and you double crochet into the 3rd one. That gives you your first double crochet. Then you double crochet into the next hole. Okay, and what that does is that brings us back to our chain stitch here. Okay, on our chain 2 we do the V-stitch. So it's a double crochet, chain 2, and then back in the same hole for 1 more double crochet. So just remember your V-stitches consist of just 2 double crochet with the chain 2, whereas your shell is 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochet. The V is just 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet. So we're back to where we need to do 2 more. Okay. So we did 2 more in a row here, and then we're skipping 2 and double crochet into that next one. Alright, and then you're going to double crochet into your next one. Now this one brings you back to your chain 2 space here. Okay, and in your chain 2 you do the V-stitch. So that's 1 double crochet, 2 chains, and then 1 double crochet back into here. Alright, now we're working down this side here, so we need 2 more down this side. Okay, and there's 1, so here's 2. Now here we're going to, of course, we're going to skip 2 to continue working our pattern. Skip 1, skip 2, go into the next one for a double crochet. Uh-oh. Naughty, naughty, bad yarn. Okay, so we're going to do the double crochet and the double crochet because we're working up the side now, and then we're back to our chain 2. So you want the V-stitch, which is 1 double crochet, chain 2, and then 1 double crochet into your chain 2 space. Alright, now as you can see, we're making a lot of progress really fast. That's why I love these blankets, because they go by so fast. Alright, now we're back to, I'm going to slow down just a little bit here. Okay, so we now have our V-stitch. Next to our V-stitch, we double crochet in the next 2. So here's 1. Okay, here's 2. Okay, and then we're back to skipping 2. Okay, so we skip this one, and we skip 1, skip 2, and go into the next one. Okay, then we double crochet into the next one. Alright, and then we have a V-stitch. So a V-stitch in the chain 2. V-stitch is 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet. Now we're working down the side here, so we need 2 more. Okay, so we're going to double crochet in that one and then double crochet into the next one. Alright, now we're about halfway done already. So basically what you're doing here, when you look at this, you're working with your peaks here. Okay, you're going to work up your peak and down your peak. Okay, now when you get going, this goes really fast, because what you're always going to keep in your mind is that you're always going to skip these 2 stitches here. So when your blanket is a lot longer, you're going to learn where to automatically stop. You're going to automatically stop before you get to the last stitch here, and you know you're always going to skip this stitch here, and then if it's either a shell or the V in this one. Okay, so this starts going by really fast here. So you skip 2, do a double crochet into there. Okay, and then you double crochet into here. Now we're going to do a V-stitch in the chain 2. Okay, V-stitch into the chain 2. There we go. Now we're going to work down the side, so you want 2 more double crochets. Okay, and then you're going to skip 2, go to the next one. And I'm just going to continue on. Okay, and then we need a V-stitch in the chain 2 space. So a double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet, work down the other side for the 2. Okay, there's 1, there's 2. Now you're going to skip 2, go into the next one, and then you need 1 more because you're working up the other side, and then you need a V-stitch. So that's 1 and 2. Alright, and then you're going to work down the side, so you need 2 more double crochets in a row. Okay, now you're going to skip your 2, and you're going to go into the next one. And I'm also coming to the end, so I'm going to slow down again so that we can follow along. V-stitch in here. And I'm actually, after this one, I'm going to see what the directions say about our next color change. Because I'm going to show you how I do color changes. Because my daughter will fasten off her yarn, and I don't like to fasten off the yarn. Because if you notice, this is really bothering me here where we fastened it off, and it makes this little knot here. I know you can't really see it, but I know it's there, and it really annoys me. So I'm going to do a color change on the next row, whether it tells us to or not, just so you can see how I color change. Okay, so we have our V-stitch. We're going to go down 2, because we're working down the other side. So there was 1, and then 2. Okay, and then we skip 1, skip 2, next one. Okay, actually I'm going to make sure I go really slow on this one, because it looks like this one is the last one. So when we start, we're going to skip 1, skip 2, make sure you're going into that one right there. And we just do a double crochet. Now you have 1 stitch left before you get to your chain 2. That means you want another double crochet. And then your V-stitch again for the chain is just 1 double crochet, chain 2, and then 1 double crochet. Now that makes your V-stitch, so you have 2 for your side, then your V-stitch that makes your point, and then you got to work down the next side. So you're going to, oh no, look what I did here. If you notice here, way back at the beginning, now this is a good example here. This shows you how to fix a mistake. So if you notice, when I went around here, we had 3 on this row. Okay, because we had a double crochet, then we did our shell, which was 2 double crochet, and then a chain 2 and 2 double crochet, and then a double crochet here. So you had 6 stitches in that set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you notice, I accidentally, I'm gonna leave this for the video, but I can't crochet like this, so when I'm not making the video, I'm going to rip this out, because this is going to bother me. If you notice, this very last set that I did here, I did my double crochet, then I did my shell, which was 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. If you notice, I forgot to put my 3rd one right there in that hole. So these, where they have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I forgot one right there, and I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're like me, you'll end up ripping out the whole row. However, being a new person, I'm going to show you how to fix these, just because It's called an